I started fly fishing when I was 9 years old. My dad took me to the mountains and had me attempt to use this type of rod I was unfamiliar with, but a kind of fishing that was a long-held heritage in my family. It was cumbersome and difficult, and I fundamentally didn't understand what my father was placing in my hands at the time. As life has gone on, the pressures of providing for a family, for living out life as a quality father and husband, for being available to all the demanding needs of the American life, at times has felt overwhelming. There was always a maxim that my father told me growing up about America. He said that life before 40 is intended to be difficult. The system is designed to clarify the wheat in the process. A long, steady climb in the same direction, he said, would produce the fruits of labor that are worth it. He always spoke those words when we would be together in our times outside fly fishing or on a long drive to the backside of the Tetons to ski. I would lament some early fatherhood woes to him, and he would encourage me by letting me know that there were better things around the corner if I stayed diligent to the process. Yet America in 2024 is a struggling version of the maxim he told me about. Our lives feel more akin to a simulation than to what might be real life. Our media is disingenuous, if not outright propaganda. Our money has been ruined by an ever-pressing military-industrial complex and corporatized government. Our lives are more harried and stressful than ever. The food we eat is poisoned, and the lifestyles we hope for are not around the corner, but somewhere off on a false horizon. But fear is a terrible drug. It is the most horrible of poisons. It destroys the mind and the heart and takes away the nurture necessitated for the health of the soul. So after a frenzied summer where the pace was uncontrollable and the incessant drumbeat of political and societal fear was shoveled into the furnace of my mind, it was time to reset. I know nothing better than to place that fly rod in my hand again and wade into the cold waters of a western stream. I dropped the mundane appointments on my calendar and made my way into the Bighorn Mountains, my childhood waters, for the solitude and regeneration only a rising trout and the camaraderie of good friends can provide. There's nothing like an early morning cup of coffee on a long Wyoming highway. Watching the sunrise on the wild plains where the ruts of the old Oregon Trail glisten in the first light of the morning brings a calm to the mind. It reminds me that the world is still moving, that the life I'm living is not just about the moment, but that I am contributing to an ever-composing song, adding my thoughts and beauty to the measure I have been given. Standing atop the canyon walls before the descent to the river is recentering. The wild wind from the natural curve of the canyon breathes life back into the beleaguered soul. It is the moment that helps me forget the theater of the world that steals my attention. Feeling the burn of the muscles in my legs as I descend to the valley floor holds my fear accountable to the moment instead of the plausible paranoia of what might be. It makes me realize that the life I am living has far more in store for it than the fear of politicians or bureaucrats. Wading into the first hole and centering my thoughts around the task at hand sets upon my heart a calm. The torment of what might become of my children, my work, my needs are all subsidiary to the task before me. To trick a trout to rise to my fly. There's an art to fly fishing, but it is more than the cast upon the water or the selection of the fly. The art is in the resting. Fly fishing takes all the concentration a mind can muster to focus on the multitude of skills set before me. Reading the water, mending the line, seeing the fish, all take the full devotion of dedication to the moment. The quiet and beauty of the setting are the canvas, but the diligence in setting down my life's troubles and worry are mine and mine alone. I must calm my thoughts if I'm ever to have a chance to lure the trout to the top of the water. And so, in this peaceful place, I was reminded that our world only feels like a simulation if we let it. If we worry about the unsolvable, we will never be present enough to solve a real problem for our children or our friends. More meaning comes from a father further along in his journey who asks how I might be handling my oldest child heading off to college than any discussion I might have on social media about the plausibility of any candidate's victory in November. The smile from the person on the other side of the net who has bought into the fully present obligation of the moment with me proves far more to me than any battle won in the temporal space of a fluttering Twitter feed. I tire of politics. It is designed to be defeating. It elevates its importance by its own self-aggrandizement. But the water below my feet, the heat of the canyon walls, the beauty of a rainbow trout, or the closing of a barbed wire fence is far more significant than the drama of people who I do not know, who are more caricature than they are significant. I fly fish to remind myself of my dad and his words, that a pursuit in a long, steady direction produces results. In this time, our need for calm and peace is a skill long lost upon us as a manipulated citizenry. We all need a fly fishing moment, something to ground our lives back to the earth beneath us. All of the esoteric back and forth about giant problems in the messy world of humanity is only feeding our disease. This cancer that grows within us requires a realignment towards the things that matter. We need more wild wind across our faces. We need more adventures that have moments of perilousness. We need to stand shoulder to shoulder with an old friend and recognize the gifts that laughter and commiseration bring to us. The current version of mobocracy in America only builds upon the fear we are addicted to. Somehow, the winds of Wyoming in an outlaw canyon reminded me that the less time I spend with my indolent thoughts about politics and the more the sunshine reddens my face, the better I become as a man, as a father, as a husband, and as a citizen. This is the world we need to create. One that remembers what it is like to feel the adrenaline of a real-life adventure instead of one created behind screens by people who are paid to help us create our own self-induced prisons of hate and fear. The rush that comes from standing atop of a 1,000-foot canyon wall is the kind of soul-altering moment that enables me to say stop to the tilt-a-whirl of unnecessary trepidation about things I have little to no control over. The more time I spend in politics, the more trepidation I feel about my life. The cold waters of a western river give me permission to believe that the universe is bigger than my control over the simulation.